Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts, and today I've got a short video on how to make a headliner and hide the wiring in the cab of your king hauler and grand hauler. Really applies to any Tamiya truck, actually, any RC car. This is a new series I'm going to be doing called Shorts, and each one's going to be a different topic. I plan on doing like how to motorize a coupler, how to lock a differential, just little topics that I think will be useful. So today it's headliner and light wiring. We'll get them hidden. I think this is pretty cool. I think you'll like it. Let's get started. So here's my typical body for a king hauler, grand hauler, and this kind of stuff I'm going to show works for every truck. But what happens is you've got a bunch of wiring that goes up here. You've got 3 lights and you've got 2 lights here, and then a lot of times I'll even add extra lights like dome lights or something. And so underneath, now you have this big bundle of light wires that just kind of hangs there, and I was taping them up and doing whatever I could, but I finally came up with a little bit better solution. So what I do is I cut a piece of plastic. Now I use this old plastic sign material that I got for free, so you could get an old for sale sign or something, or you can buy sheet plastic at Hobby Lobby or the hobby store. And I cut a piece that's 7/8 by 1 1/4. So that's 7/8 by 1 1/4. And what I'm going to do, let's see if I can see this on camera. Yes, is I'm going to glue it right up here in the corner. Like, basically like that. And then when I route my wires over, they will run down the corner, and this holds them in place. So I'm going to glue that in, and I'll show you what it looks like glued in. There's my little piece glued in. There's room to tuck the wires in and drop them down. You can't go all the way down because you need to be able to get a nut on the back side of your exhaust. But boy, that makes routing the wires up underneath. Now the second thing I do, I just started doing this, and I'm doing it in every truck now, is I made a little cardboard template for the headliner, I call it. And it's got a couple holes in it, and it will drop in like that, and the screws that hold the windshield hold it in. And that's all you need, and that completely hides all the light wiring. So same thing, I've taken my template, drawn it on a piece of this sign plastic. I will cut it out here. And to cut out this plastic, you don't have to cut all the way through. You just score it and it breaks. Cut a piece off the front here. You can see that's pretty easy to work with. And I made some marks for where the holes go. So I'll finish cutting this out and I'll drill the holes. We'll take a look at it. There's my plastic piece all cut out, and that just drops in. And like I said, the 2 bolts that hold the windshield in will hold the headliner in place. Voila! Super easy. Now you'll notice this corner, I actually made a little line there, and I can cut that off, and then my wires will route right up into my little corner piece there, and voila, all the wires are hidden. Super nice. Now it's also kind of handy if you want to run dome lights, because you can punch a couple holes in this and put a couple dome lights in. So I'm going to do that next, and I'll show you how I do that. I punched a couple of 1/8" holes for the dome lights, and these are 3mm, which fit in an 1/8" hole perfect. And so I will just glue them in like that. Nothing more complicated than that. And then I use hot glue to glue the wiring to the base for these dome lights. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some paint on this, some primer, because I'll use some gray primer, and then I'll come back and I'll install these dome lights and show you how I do that. One other thing I sometimes do is I took a piece of square plastic and I'll glue it right here on the inside of this lip, and that way the headliner will fit up underneath it and the back edge won't fall down since the screws are up in the front. It's not really necessary. The plastic I'm using is stiff enough that it doesn't fall down, but it's just an extra little thing you could do if you wanted to, and that kind of tucks everything up in there neatly. You can see I've got some gray primer on this, which is basically my interior color, and I soldered up a couple of 3mm LEDs. So I never thought hot glue guns at any place in model building that I would do, but man, they really work good for holding wiring down. So I just kind of put the wires where I want them and use a little hot glue gun to kind of hold everything together, and it takes a minute to dry, to cool down. So I'll glue this, I'll glue the bulb in, I'll come back and show it off when they're all glued together. So here's my piece with the hot glue holding everything down. You can see the wires coming out in this corner, and there's my two little dome lights. So what I've done here is just fish the wires through my plastic piece that's in there, and I'll just pull them up and drop that in, and you can see how that fits. Normally I will wait until I put the windshield in, but those two screws will hold it down. The wires come up through the corner here. You can see that little piece I glued in the back, not really required, but what the heck, it's there. And then when I put my other lights in, I'll pull those down through the corner before I mount this in. But what an easy way to hide the wiring. It doesn't matter what it looks like underneath. There's plenty of room in there, and makes a real nice, clean installation for your wiring. So there you go, with the headliner and the dome lights. So here's our body with all the wiring in it. You can see that's a typical wiring mess in there. I've got my headliner. I actually pulled these wires through, and the windshield's in, so I'll just pull this in, tuck it down in here, and the screws that hold the windshield in will hold in the headliner. Now you can see that tucked in there, at least I think you can, and the screws that hold in the windshield will hold in the headliner, and that's it. You can see all the wiring's covered up. My wiring that goes into the body now all comes out of this corner, and that'll be easy to hide. So there we go. That's how to do a headliner for your king hauler or grand hauler. You just need a piece of cardboard to make a template. I use a file folder, and that's it. It's really pretty simple. Covers the wiring great. I used to tape the wiring up. I'm not going to do that anymore. From now on, every time I build a truck, I'm going to make one of these. So again, quickie video. This is a little hobby concept short, but hopefully that's a good tip on how to do a headliner for your king hauler and grand hauler. Actually, the same technique would work for any truck, and matter of fact, I just made some for a bruiser. So pretty slick, pretty simple. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.